So, welcome to the Triangle of Hormonal Health. Some of you will already know this because this is absolutely what you're studying. The concept behind the Triangle of Hormonal Health is essentially what we were just saying, that there are red flags and precursors to chronic conditions. Nothing comes out of the blue. Nothing comes out of the blue. The symptoms might be different, but the precursors, the body was telling you. So as a practitioner, it's very rare. There is a bit of I'll start at the beginning. So Triangle of Hormonal Health, I was getting excited. Triangle of Hormonal Health, basically 3 sets of hormones that interact with each other. And at a basic level, when these 3 sets of hormones are interacting beautifully, when everyone's playing well, we feel great. But as soon as there is an issue with one of these sets of hormones, we start to feel unwell. So I always use the analogy of it's a stool, and we need the legs of the stool to be equal so that we get this full balance going on in our body. But as soon as one of our legs becomes wonky, it starts to put a lot of pressure on the other 2 legs, and that ultimately they will take each other down, and our stool falls over, and we end up with symptoms left, right, and center. But we only need one of those to be a bit wonky to start to have those precursor symptoms. What tends to happen? So people don't tend to come in. They might come in and say, "Oh, I'm really stressed. I need a good massage. I need to relax. I'm really stressed." But they don't come in saying, "I've got an imbalance with my stress hormones," unless they've actually had something diagnosed, and that's not common. Unless somebody has got diabetes, where they think of it as diabetes, they know it's to do with blood sugars, but they're not thinking before they get diagnosed with diabetes, "I've got a problem with my blood sugars." They don't come in saying that. The only caveat is that people do sometimes come in saying they've got problems with their sex hormones because they're having period problems or fertility issues, or I think it might be a hormone issue. But what they don't realize is that all of these are hormones that are interrelated. So we need really our blood sugars, our stress hormones, and our sex hormones all to be working in this really lovely optimal fashion, and then we're well. If they are not working in an optimal fashion, the first things that kind of start to show as an issue is the digestive system and the immune system. So it could be one or the other or both. That's really why people are often seeking help from the doctors and from complementary therapists. I've got bloating. I'm a bit constipated. I go down with everything that goes around. I get all the bugs that come back with my kids from school. These are the things that people are sort of talking about. And some of those other things that we were talking about, the skin, I can't remember that list now. There was such a great list. That list that Laura put up. Yeah, the acne, the
headaches, the brain fog, yeah, the energy, the fatigue.
All of those are the precursors to I've got really bad IBS. And I'm talking about some people have got IBS so badly that they can't work. Like they are on the toilet 40 times a day. The immune, obviously, it will start to play up, and we get really bad allergies. We'll have it'll sort of start with, say, maybe some hay fever, then it gets worse and worse and worse, and then we're starting to become intolerant to the world. We will be getting things like psoriasis, eczema. But again, asthma, eczema, psoriasis, we have normalized in society. These are just, they're an autoimmune disease, but they're not really a bother. They're an autoimmune disease. And the problem with autoimmune diseases is that at the core, it's a very, very stressed immune system that is trying to tell you something. And when we don't listen to it, you can stick the cream on for the eczema till you're blue in the face, and you can take the asthma inhalers. But when there is an autoimmune response in the body, it's very common for it to then create other autoimmune responses. And when people are very far down the rabbit hole of having an autoimmune response, they can have 7 or 8. And they get very often bigger and bigger until it's your ankylosing spondylitis, which is where all your bones are, crumbling and fusing, or MS, the real biggies, the life limiting ones, not that I've got a bit of eczema and it's a bit annoying. So these are the reasons that people tend to be coming in. And what we wanted to talk about is how food intolerances is actually one of the main drivers that takes your stool from being steady to squonky. Nobody wants a squonky stool.